I guess it's been an awful long time since we as a country have seen a phenomena similar to what's happened here in Washington, D.C. and all around the United States with the Iran-Contra hearings. Basically, you wouldn't want to use the word starring Oliver North, but certainly as a focal point, Oliver North really is making the hearings what they are. And all around the United States, I mean, people are kind of getting together, some people pro, some people against Oliver North. And one of my responsibilities, Time magazine asked me to go out and photograph some of what was called, quote, Ollie Mania. And I found it a very interesting assignment. Now, more times than not, assignments have a tendency of not being very glamorous. And this particular assignment, you know, photographing a sign is not what most people would consider something that is very glamorous and very vibrant and something that would make a very interesting photograph. What I try and do when I'm on an assignment, regardless of who the client would be, is try and get the most out of a particular situation. After getting to the town of Philmont, which is Oliver North's hometown, and doing a little bit of research at the local convenience store and also the gas station, I found out that the sign was approximately 20-some-odd miles away in another small town. And at that point, I decided to drive there and research the sign, find the sign, see what type of light we had to deal with, find out who indeed put the sign up, and what we could do with what you would normally consider a very mundane photograph and try and expand upon that particular theme. After arriving at the location of the sign, I had an opportunity to look around a little bit, and I noticed that there was a farmer, and that farmer was out in the field. I was on his property. Obviously, he was concerned, wanting to know what I was doing there. I wanted to get a little bit more information and certainly caption information for Time magazine on the sign, who put the sign up, when it was put up, and what the reaction has been from the local people and the people that are moving back and forth in that geographic area, whether they were for it, against it, plus, negative, whatever, and see what we could possibly do. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Joe DiMaggio, Time magazine. How are you doing, Alan?
Good, Joe.
We're doing a story on Ollie Mania that's kind of affected the whole United States, and we noticed that you put up a sign in the front of, this is your place of business right here?
Yes,
sir. What I would like to do is I'd like to have permission to photograph the sign and come on your property and make a few photographs.
You've got it. You've got it. I own the farm. I put the sign up, and any way I can help Lieutenant Colonel North, hop on and we'll go up and talk about it.
Okay, thank you. Right here is okay? During the period of time that I was having a conversation with Alan, he offered me a cup of coffee, and we went into the farm stand, had a cup of coffee. And during that period, he explained that when he had some duties in that geographic part of the farm, that he would go by, have a cup of coffee, and wave to people and solicit a response that that the American people basically were behind Oliver North. And he'd sit out there, or I should say stand out there, and he'd wave to oncoming truckers and just local people, and they would respond by beeping a horn. And while he was explaining this to me, and we were having this break, he went out, and I shouldn't say he didn't act it out, he just went out and started waving.
Good. All right. Good.
Basically, the piece of equipment, the very sophisticated piece of equipment that I used on this particular photograph is a panoramic camera. It's 6x17, and the best way to describe it, it has absolutely no distortion from edge to edge, corner to corner, and it maintains its sharpness across the whole film plane. And you think of it as something like an 8x10 view camera and just taking the center right out of it with a very wide-angle lens. What I tried to do is what I call a time motion study. I don't know what other photographers call it. I call it time motion. What I attempted to do is allow the trucks that were going by at a very good pace, a very long exposure. And in doing that, you will see the beginning of the truck and then just it blurs out into infinity. And that's a feeling of motion. On one side of the frame, the wave of the hand, the flags fluttering in the breeze, and then also the stillness of the farm, all in one frame. In the case of this particular photograph with the 6x17 camera, very, very early morning, severely backlit photograph. Judged that I wanted to stop the lens down to around 32, f32, which is the optimum point for sharpness. And in doing that, I had a selection of films that I could use, whether it be print film or whether it be transparency material. What we actually did is we made 4 frames on transparency material, and we made 2 frames on negative material, not only as a backup, but just to give a different feel to what we were doing. Many times you're surprised. In this particular case, I went to photograph a sign, and a sign doesn't move. It has no life. It has nothing. It's just a sign. And ran into a human being, Alan, who certainly has such a strong personality and strong beliefs. Something that I didn't figure on. The response of the people in that geographic area is not something that I anticipated. That would happen. And I think all in all, it was pretty much a surprise to me. From going for something that was relatively mundane, or what I conceived, I said, gee, this is going to be pretty dull. And on a 3.5-hour ride, I'm saying, what am I going to do with a sign that's, approximately 3 feet by 5 feet? What are you going to do other than make that, picture of a sign? But being flexible and letting things happen, we were lucky. I was lucky, and I think it worked out.